Mayan Buntag, and welcome to the Foreign Guy in the Barangay. Today we will be discussing whether Filipino builders are incompetent, lazy and stupid. Stick around. A few people have had conversations with me when I've outlined our ambitious project to build the house in Bohol. And being as I haven't asked their permission to talk about what they said, I won't name them. But they've all spoken in a negative way about Filipino builders and the Filipino people, in no uncertain terms. On the other hand, they've been quite pleased with themselves that they get to pay them so little each day. And I listen, and I smile politely, and nod wisely when they say their piece. But to be honest, they don't cover themselves in glory with some of their comments. I hear them tell their stories, all focused on how stupid the average Filipino builder is and how often they will make mistakes. And never do they focus on themselves and their own part in the mistakes that get made, for not explaining what they want properly, or not making sure that the builder or the labourer understands completely what is needed from them. Filipinos, particularly in the province, don't speak a lot of English, and they probably understand even less, at least not with 100% accuracy. And if truth be known, they aren't builders at all. They're mostly general labourers, educated on the job and capable of carrying out only the tasks which they've already learned and have got experience from. Those things they can do to a good standard. Anything new, one should always assume that they do not know how to do it, and therefore enough time to have the new task properly explained and demonstrated to them, and for them to be given the opportunity of a supervised practice as they find out how to do it. This is the very basis of training someone. So, first you explain the new task, you explain the reasons why the new method needs to be used, why you've chosen to do it that way. And then you show them how to do it, repeating the task as many times as necessary. This is not a time for elaboration, it's time to show the simplest part of the operation only. And then you turn the tools over to the student, and you give them a bit of hands-on experience, but while being supervised by you. And then, once they've got a firm grip of the basics, you can then introduce other relevant elements that they might come across in that task and show them how they... Patience is the key to all of this. Not something I'm generally blessed with, but we'll try. But the one thing is I can't understand how someone paying such low wages feels so impatient so as to forego all of the training element and just leave it all to common sense. It isn't common sense if the worker has never seen the material before, let alone used it. I realise that where we will be building our home is not going to be blessed with huge numbers of astute and experienced builders. But as I'll be in my 60s by the time we build, I'll need their physical ability and stamina if we are to build our new home. I also realise that the method of building our house is going to be something new to the vast majority of the workers whom we employ. We're going to be incorporating 100% reinforced concrete foundation, incorporating stem walls and retaining walls. We're going to be using a light steel framed construction system. We're going to be incorporating hardy planks with a screwed, not nailed finish. We're going to be using huge quantities of insulation. We're going to be using steel Warren trusses and a flat roof with internal guttering built in. We're going to be using insulated gypsum boards to the internal walls, and machines instead of back-breaking labour, and excavators instead of picks and spades, and concrete mixers rather than hand mixing. There's a lot of new stuff there. So many new materials and methods for them to learn. But they will all undergo a couple of days training before they're let loose on site. Safety equipment might even be insisted upon. The possibility of mistake or accident can be minimised if only we spend a few pesos in providing them with the training and equipment they're going to need. And for them, they gain knowledge and experience in new methods of construction and new materials, and methods that will become possibly more commonplace as the need for better insulated, more efficient homes becomes the norm. Some of the building standards employed by the Filipinos are born of poverty and the need to use traditional and available materials. We should not confuse their limited exposure to other methods and materials as being inferior. There will also be a natural resistance from them to overcome, because they would feel more comfortable building in a fashion with which they already feel familiar. But with training and explanation of the reasons why a particular method or a particular material has been chosen, you'll pick it up in no time. The other thing to consider is that I want to be on site while any building work is being carried out. And therefore, being as circumstances and the absence of the lottery fairly continuing, I'm only going to be able to spend around about 1 month each year in Bohol on the project. Naturally, it's going to be difficult to program in a crack team of professionals who will be able to be on site on morning number 1 each year, ready to pick up on what they last saw 11 months previously. There will need to be a great deal of planning and organisation to divide the work up into manageable chunks to be completed without there being mountains of expensive materials lying around on site for the following 18 months, growing legs, if you know what I mean. It isn't realistic to expect to be able to find deep in the countryside a crew who are ready and available to carry out what's needed. And so, I'm going to have to rely on being able to find workers who aren't skilled builders, but are practical and with a passable hand-to-eye coordination. Luckily, the Filipino people are very much like that, generally speaking, because they're living out in the countryside and have become adept at making things work. And as impatient as I am to sit on my deck admiring the view into the distance with a nice cold bottle of Red Horse or San Mig Light in my hand, celebrating a job well done, I'll take that tiny bit of extra time making sure my crew are well trained, well motivated and well rewarded for their help. Here's to saying cheers, sitting on that deck, getting a cold San Mig down my thirsty neck. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.